So in this video I will be replacing a flex joint in my exhaust. So this flex joint is leaking. Besides the braided portion here being blown out, it's actually got a pretty noticeable exhaust leak. There's one of two ways you could do it. You can kind of you could take it off, put it on a big table and work on it out like that. You could work on it up inside of the car. I'm actually gonna do both. I mean, I've known people who are good enough to weld, actually, weld a new piece inside of the car. I'm actually gonna weld it in. I'm gonna fit it in the car so that everything's lined up and working okay and looks okay. And then I will and then I'll tack weld it in the car, and then I will take this piece out, and that goes from up there up front. It's kind of hard to see. Back to this next. I think there's another catalytic converter. I mean, it's got like, I don't know how many catalytic converters this thing has, but it seems like it's got a lot. So first thing I'm going to do is get the new piece of flex pipe out. It's like a replacement flex pipe piece, and size it up to see about where I'm going to start the cut, and then I will size up to see where I'm going to have to make the other cut. Okay, I'm going to use tape to make nice, as even as possible, even lines. Okay, so I'm going to start with just kind of sizing things up. This is my replacement piece, and ooh, it looks like it's going to go. I'm going to have to cut just past this weld because the pipe does start to turn, and then the next cut will be right about back here. So tape. Then I'll measure everything after I set that up. Sure, it looks right. It says it's an 8 inches. Okay, that looks about right. So I'm going to make my first cut. And there is some back and forth with this pipe, so you've got a little bit of wiggle room. So if you're off like a fraction of an inch, it's not that big of a deal. Actually looks slightly larger than I need to be, which is fine. And actually, the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking I'm going to cut this right at that line right there. And then, yeah, and then I'll cut here and have a little bit of extra. So exhaust will actually push back a little bit when I cut that out. Then after I cut that out, I'll be able to take this section and put the new piece in, get the welder in, and just tack it. I'll be able to get the new piece in. So now I'll put on some ear and eye protection and get out my cutter and cut both of these lines. going to put a grinding wheel in this, and I'm going to get these edges a little clear before I put the new piece in and get the welder in here to tack it in place. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to cut these bolts out, because there's no way these two are coming out on their own. Okay, and yeah, not a perfect fit. There's a lot of opening in there and there, but I'm gonna sit down and, well, I'm actually gonna kneel down and weld this up. So I'll weld both of those joints, then hit them with the sander, and then I'll be ready to put it back in. I'm not gonna videotape the welding because I don't have the filter for my camera and I don't really feel like destroying it. So let me weld those up and I'll show you what it looks like after I'm done. Okay, and so there are my final welds. Had to backtrack a couple times on this side. The wall of this pipe was getting a little thin. And just to show you where the flex pipe broke, you can actually see right in there. I don't know how easy it is to see that, but right there, you could see the braided hose, or the braided metal on the other side of this. So that's where it actually broke. You could probably have I could have probably taken this and just run a big fat bead in there, but to be honest with you, it probably would have lasted maybe a week, if that, before it blew it out. So it's easier, to be honest with you, a lot cheaper just to get one of these and throw them in. I think this was like less than $10, might have been a little bit more, I'm not sure. All right, I'm gonna load this back in, bolt it all into place, and then we'll see how it sounds. Okay, and that's it, all buttoned up underneath, and let's see how it sounds. Okay. I still do have another leak, and I can feel it, but I think I know exactly where it is. The next gasket down, but it's nowhere nearly as loud as it was before. So it's a lot better. So that's basically how you fix a leak in your exhaust. Though it doesn't sound like I've totally fixed it. I promise you, this is much better than it was before. So you do need a welder for this. You can do it with a flex pipe that actually has clamps on it, clamp ends on instead of being a weld on ends. And you do want to change out all of your gaskets. That's one of the reasons why I still have a leak, is because one of my gaskets I did not change out. I'll do that shortly, but that should hopefully get the last little bit of a leak out and done. Okay, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you find this, encouraging enough to be able to do this yourself. This is really just a real simple thing to do at home, something you could fix on your own. Only problem I always find is when I start chasing one exhaust leak, I start finding others and others and others. So sometimes it's easier just to change everything from front to back. But I should have had a gasket for the back end, a new gasket. The front end was actually just changed out of that pipe, the front gasket. So you really should get new gaskets. But that's about it. Okay, thanks again for watching, and please subscribe. Okay, so I couldn't just leave it like that. I picked up a Felpro gasket, and I'm going to make it change from this to this. No more leaks. So that's it. Pretty easy to do. That took me like 5 minutes tops. Sun's just setting real quick, so no more leaks. So it's something really you could do at home without much without much experience. And honestly, if you don't have a welder, you could do this with clamp-on connectors. So, you know, try it. So the worst that could happen is that you aren't able to fix it and you just take it to a shop anyway. If not, if you could do it yourself, you save a lot of money. Hopefully this is helpful to some people and informative, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe.